The gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Krishnamoorthi, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Mr. Miller, you don't deny that at least 4 people died in connection with January 6th, correct?
I don't know how to answer that. What,
you don't.
Yes or no?
Yes.
It's not that easy. It's just not that easy to
and
respond
sir,
to that.
140 police
for?
officers. 140 police officers were injured, right?
I don't know.
And 2 Capitol police officers later died by suicide, correct?
I don't know.
Hundreds
That's
of
what I read in the
rioters
paper.
breached the Capitol, right?
I'm sorry?
Hundreds of rioters breached the Capitol on January 6th, correct?
Yes.
Now, sir, I want to highlight a paragraph in a Vanity Fair article about you from January, in that in response to the critique that you were too slow responding to the January 6th breach, you said, quote, "I know for an absolute fact that historians are going to look and go, those people had their game together." Mr. Miller, I have a picture of January 6th and what the nation saw on TV. I can assure you these pictures of mayhem and insurrection do not suggest anyone had their game together that day. Let me turn your attention to another topic, namely Russia. You said, quote, "I have professional respect for how they do things. I kind of, like professionally, I'm like, wow, they're doing pretty well, and they're using a lot of irregular warfare concepts, information, all this stuff in a way that, like, oh, good on them." Mr. Miller, according to the ODNI, on March 10th, 2021, Russia interfered in the 2016 and 2020 elections, correct?
I didn't read that report.
On top of that, Russia invaded Ukraine and annexed Crimea, right?
I am aware of that. Yes, sir, they did.
Mr. Miller, you know Vladimir Putin tried to kill his political opponent, Alexei Navalny, with a nerve agent, correct?
I don't know what that has to do with the subject of this
Mr.
hearing.
Miller, according to the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, Russia is responsible for SolarWinds, the largest cyber attack waged ever against the U.S. in our history. You're aware of that, right?
I thought I was here to discuss the unexplained delays and unanswered questions of the event of 6 January.
Sir, you said good on them with regard to Russia. Meanwhile, regarding the Department of Defense, which you headed, you told Vanity Fair, quote, "This effing place is rotten." I think your comments, Mr. Miller, about Russia and the DOD are bizarre and rotten, and I think they illustrate, unfortunately, the problems of the response on January 6th. So now let me turn to January 6th. On January 3rd, you informed the President that Mayor Bowser requested National Guard support. And according to page 11 of your written statement, the President said to give the mayor the support she requested, correct?
Yes.
On January 6th, according to your statement, you became aware sometime on or before 1:30 p.m. that day that the rioters breached the perimeter of the Capitol, right?
Yes.
According to a DOD-created timeline, at 1:34 p.m., Mayor Bowser called Army Secretary McCarthy to request, quote-unquote, additional forces to respond to the Capitol. According to page 8 of your statement, at 3:04 p.m., so 1.5 hours later, you authorized mobilizing the D.C. National Guard and providing these additional forces. That constituted a gap of 1.5 hours. During that 1.5-hour gap, why did you and the Secretary disobey the President's order to give the mayor the support she requested?
She already had the support she requested. What's your question, sir?
Sir, she requested additional support. You see this mayhem and pictures of insurrection on January 6th? She requested additional support from you. And during that 1.5 hours, either you disobeyed an order given to you by the President to help Mayor Bowser, or the President changed his order and asked you to delay support, or you just plain froze and were indecisive while people were being injured, killed, while hundreds of rioters breached the Capitol, and a nation was traumatized. Sir, because of your actions,
there were 8,000 badged and credentialed police officers on duty
And you weren't there.
The United States
They
Armed
were-
Forces should
and
only
you were
be used as a
AWOL.
last
You were
resort.
AWOL, Mr. Secretary. You were AWOL. Remember,
That's
as
completely
you said
inaccurate.
before,
That's completely inaccurate.
as you said before, you have responsibility for everything. Something goes wrong, quote unquote, I own it completely, 110%. Sir, you partially own this mayhem. And that's why I'm going to ask for a DOD investigation into your actions. Thank you.
I already requested that before I left the Department of Defense.
I look forward to the report. Thank you, sir.